My name is Diana Loderhose. I'm the International Features Editor here at Deadline. We are back in our Red Sea studio here in Jeddah, and we're being welcomed again with Kareena Kapoor.
Hi.
Thank you for coming back. We were just saying you were here a couple of years
I
ago with
know.
us.
I think it was in 2022
Yes, yes,
when Seth and me came together.
yes.
And this time, yeah, I'm here on my own.
Here on your own, flying solo. You have been pretty busy since we last saw each other. So let's maybe talk a little bit about that. You've just released Singham again. You've been involved in that, which was a huge commercial success in India. Um, it's a huge cast, right? You know, Akshay, Deepika. You know, it's a huge cast. Yourself and we've got, I mean, Salman, of course. Yeah, I mean, Ranveer Singh, who we had in here last year. How does it work with a film like that? Like, what are the challenges of working in a movie where there are so many big personalities and stars?
I think that was the idea of the entire film. It was like um, we'd have all the cops together from the cop verse, like you said, Akshay, Ranveer, Ajay, of course. And I think introducing Deepika into the film and, so many different characters, I think that somehow the audiences had fun. They like to want to go and have fun with, such a big cast. I think everyone had their moment in the film. Um, Mine being the character of Sita, which is actually because it was a version of Ramayan, which was being shown on screen in Singham. So I think it was great fun. I had a lot of worked with so many of them, like so many times. So obviously there's so much of comfort, and yeah, I'm glad the audiences liked it.
So when is that going to be out for? I mean, that's already come out, but is that going
Yeah,
on a streamer at some
yeah, it
point?
will at some point. I think. I think another couple of months.
Okay. Okay, great. Also, then you worked on, since we saw each other last, the Buckingham Murders.
Yes.
That is an amazing performance by you, I must say, but quite a different film and tricky subject matter. Maybe could you tell me a little bit about why this was a role you were so keen to play, and maybe for those who aren't aware of it, maybe explain a little
I
bit about
know.
your character.
I think it's such a special film. It's also a film that I produced, The Buckingham Murders, which is now out on Netflix. It's also extremely special because of its authenticity to its script and its people, its cast. We actually shot the film based in Buckinghamshire in England, and we were like, we can't. They're not gonna like speak Hindi, so the people who know Hindi, let them speak Hindi. Those who don't know Hindi, let them speak in English. And we kind of merged it together and made the 70% in English and 30% in Hindi. When you watch it on Netflix, you can see the original, what it's done. I thought that was the best thing of the blending in of the cultures. And it just seamlessly kind of just, blended in so well because we took a part of a town in England where there were a lot of Indians. We showed the whole communal kind of tension around that area between the Indians and the Pakistanis. The way it is, it was handled so beautifully. While the main story of the fact was the fact that there was this grieving mother who lost her child and now she's on this case looking for what happened to this particular kid in this town. I thought it was one of a first of its kind in India. Of course, you see a lot of these thrillers, back home, like in England or in Hollywood. You have a lot of these shows on the platforms now, but in India you don't. And plus, to see them with in English and in Hindi, I thought it was amazing. So I'm so proud of that film that people have actually watched and are still watching it on
I
Netflix.
mean, you're a mother yourself, so that must be a heck of a. What was the kind of process of preparing to play something like that when it's
It's actually been a role of a detective and a cop that I've always wanted to play all my life. Because I'm a huge fan of Hercule Poirot. I watch all Midsummer Murders. Huge fan of John Nettles. So I've always loved the kind of whodunits. So it was something that I feel like I was really just waiting to do. And now I think at this point in my life, being a mother of two, um, just accepting the way I am and the kind of roles that are coming, I think are just so brilliant. I thought this was the perfect time to, do the whole deglamorize. I just went like, I was, there was no makeup, there was nothing. I was like, it's fine if, any of my lines are showing, I don't care. I want to, the whole idea was to embrace yourself at this particular age and stage, which I think is something that it's just made me feel so wholesome.
Do you think that, I mean, does this feel like a film that could have been made in India 10, 15 years ago? And maybe, how does it sort of speak to kind of how roles and the types of films that female stars get behind are getting, are getting
Braver.
made and
Yeah.
braver and bolder, and it feels like there's more of an acceptance for these kind of audiences are growing and open
No,
to more.
definitely. Because of, I think, the acceptance of the OTT platforms, the platforms like Netflix and Amazon and the streaming platforms that have come in, COVID, with people watching so many different shows, be it, from all over the world. I mean, today, like, we're at the Red Sea Film Festival, we have over 60 films playing from different parts of the world, language being no barrier. And so I think that we're so ready back home also in India to accept stories. And actually, I think actors should take on the responsibility of, telling more stories. It doesn't always have to be, on the track, on the commercial track. It's the idea of just exploring. And in that, I think actors get to explore themselves also. So the braver the actor, the cooler the films. It's not been about like, just box office numbers. Of course, at some point in my life, that was it. But I feel actors today are also looking at life beyond that for themselves, and audiences are more accepting and wanting to watch that.
What are you working on next? And certainly from like an acting perspective and producing perspective.
So producing, it's not going to be a full-time job. This was just because I love detective series, like I said. So I said that, okay, fine, I'm just going to do it. Maybe a part 2 in the future. But as of now, I don't want to because, I'm not a producer. I'm an actor. I just feel like that's where my heart lies. And I'm reading scripts. I've worked on 4 films, last year. There was also Jaane Jaan on Netflix again. There was Crew, which was another really fun film. So I don't know what I'm going to do next, I don't know. I'm looking for something fun. Now my husband's going to work because I worked a lot last year. So he's like, now it's my turn to work. So he's going to work from Jan to April, and I'm going to be with my babies, which I'm so looking forward to.
So I just wanted to ask one last question. We started off this conversation talking about all the kind of big names that you have worked with. Is there anyone, either in India or beyond, let's start with India. Is there anyone in India that you haven't worked with, be it a director or an actor, that you would just love the opportunity to work with?
I've worked with I've done over 65 films. I've worked with all the actors. Directors, there's so many new directors coming up. But I'd love to work with Zoya Akhtar, Farhan Akhtar. I'd love to, I'd love to work with Imtiaz Ali again. We did Jab We Met together. So I think, these are the kind of directors. I want to work, I want to tell stories. So any director who has, something to say, something different, I'd love to do that.
Thank you so much for being with us again, Kareena. So nice to see you.
Thank you, guys.